the Everything But Politics podcast.
All right, guys, here we go. Everything But Politics podcast with the all-timer here, Jimmy Shubert. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. How you doing? All right?
We're doing better now, Jimmy. It's exciting to have you here. I've been watching a lot of your stuff recently, and you're just absolutely hysterical. Before we start talking about your stuff, I know you just had a nice little golf weekend here this past weekend. How did that go?
Oh, it was great. My two of my brothers came down, and like four of their buddies from Philadelphia, and just so we had like almost two foursomes, and just laugh a minute, just hilarious, just a fun time, and golf on top of it, and the weather was great. You couldn't ask. So it was like a nice golf staycation, if you want, because I live down here. They came down from up north. And so for that, it was a nice little getaway vacation, and it was great, man. That's probably the most golf I played in about 6 months.
All right, nice. And you're in Del Rey, correct?
Yeah, well, that's where I'm at now. Yeah.
What courses did you guys play?
Well, we played Hammock Creek up at Stewart. We played the Champions Club. We played the Florida Club. We played Abacoa on Monday.
Nice.
And yeah, I think we played the Champions Club twice. So we played Hammock Creek. No, we played Florida Club, Hammock Creek, Champions Club, and then we played Abacoa on Monday. Yeah, so a couple.
Very nice. And how's your game nowadays?
Not bad. I'm a solid 12 handicap.
All right, solid.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, depending. Like if I was able to play more, I'd be lower. But it's just it's golf's one of those games. If you get good enough at it, and you can play it all your life. I mean, I play with 80-year-old guys. You just sit, they're three to the green, they one or two putt, they bogey, they shoot their age, they're happy as hell. You know what I mean?
Totally. And I know you recently made the move down here to South Florida from LA.
Yeah.
When did you get into golf? Was it while you were in LA and Philly? What was that like?
No, I got into golf many years ago. It's so funny. I grew up on a golf course, but I never played. They used to have keg parties out there at night, but we never played golf. And then, like, I was rehabbing my leg after an injury, and I wanted to walk, and so I took up golf as a exercise. You just fall in love with the game. It's a great metaphor for life. You know what I mean? You got to play the ball where it lies. Sometimes you get a bad break from a good shot. Sometimes you get a good break from a bad shot. And either way, you got to play it where it lies. So, I like it because you're calling yourself on it. I mean, you could cheat if you want, but that's what the hell's that? You got to, it's just one of those games. It's a really difficult game to play, but it's an addicting game. It's more of a, it's just one of those things. I mean, you're outside, you get some sunshine. These courses are beautiful. You're around all this scenic stuff, and a lot of them are around, sanctuaries for wildlife. So you get to see the, amazing species, and there's alligators, obviously. So it's kind of cool down here, and especially in season down here, it was beautiful. Every day was gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been lovely the last 10 days, 2 weeks. And Jimmy, so prior to us recording here, I told you, so we found you through the Sad Man Comedy Cafe when friend of the show Joe Bartnick was performing. How often are you performing down here in South Florida nowadays?
Well, it depends. Like, I'm gonna be at Sad Man's Club on the 8th and the 9th. I'm headlining.
Okay.
And so my buddy Turner Sparks is coming in, so maybe I'll pop in and do a guest. I like having that little club there because it's just enough to keep you sharp. Like if you go 2 weeks without getting on stage, your timing gets a little off. So I just like performing on the regular basis. I always did. I always like it keeps you sharp. It's a great place to work on material. If you're coming up with a new bit, it's a great place to. It's a kind of an intimate room, and I like it. And I just like having it here in case I need to get ready for something. I can just go in there every night and do a guest spot if I want.
Yeah, totally. It's a cool little club there in a happening area. Something I've heard you mention on other shows before is the more you read, the more you write. So in terms of like staying fresh and kind of keeping your brain acute, what are some other tactics you use to keep yourself fresh and sharp?
Well, yeah, it's always. I find it the more I'm reading or the more stuff I'm reading, I find myself writing more because I get inspired by the things I read, and also music. I don't watch TV really. I get my news on a stream. I don't really get too involved with it. I can't. I mean, if people think I was nuts, but I don't really fucking, I just want to do something that I love to do and be able to make a living at it. I think all the fucking shit that's going on in the world is by design. It's created that way. It's just fucking. It's this whole fucking matrix that we live in. The food's poison. The fucking the programming's on the fucking television. Your kids are getting their lives ruined because they don't know what fucking gender they are. They're taking kids from parents. I mean, there's a sickness out there that I can't participate in. My mental health is too fucking important to allow myself to get caught up in all this fucking stupid shit. People have lost their fucking minds. Certainly, when they look back on this period of time, it'll be called the dumb ages. And and you look at all these fucking people; they're just fucking dumb. I mean, look at the Fannie Willis thing in fucking Atlanta. I mean, that woman could be quite possibly a retard. I mean, I'm sorry, I hate to use the word, but she's mentally encumbered. She's fucking retarded. They're so fucking corrupt and fucking soulless. They're soulless, corrupt fucking scumbags on every fucking level. Every fucking level. Local government, the state government, the federal government, they're all corrupt little fucking scumbags. They can't wait to sell their fucking souls. They fuck their own moms for a nickel. They want to they're a bunch of fucking pedophile fucking scumbags. And I think we ought to go up there with a can of gas and burn the whole fucking thing to the ground while they're still in it. How dare you? How dare you do January 6th and come up here and try to take over the government where we do our corruption and steal from the American taxpayers. How dare you? How dare you? These people are fucking scumbags, soulless fucking scumbags. I don't believe a single fucking word they say anymore. I don't believe the fucking news media. You can stick that up your fucking ass too, because they're a bunch of paid off fucking corrupt. They just can't right. Look, I'm gonna wrap their fucking lips around the fat throbbing cock of corporate greed and just suck it. These people do. They're soulless. I mean, could you imagine being a journalist today and not being able to tell the truth? Oh God, it's fucking pathetic. I mean, it's funny. I know I come across like a nutbag, but more and more people are getting to this point. More and more people realize that this is just all a game. It's all really a game. The reason they're able to do these wars, to these people, they're fucking sick in their fucking heads. This is a game. They look at us like useless food eaters, when in quite actuality, they're the ones that are fucking useless. I mean, a lot of these people up there in government can't find their asshole with both fucking hands. They've never built anything. They've never created anything. They do nothing but tear it fucking down. They do nothing but fucking ruin everything. These people have to ruin everything. Fucking listen to me. Anytime they touch, like, the less I'm involved with government on any fucking level, the happier I am. These people ruin fucking everything. I'm sorry, but that's the way.
No, it's all right. And comedy and music are, two things that are kind of universal that don't really have an agenda like other things. So my question for you is, when and how did you get into the stand-up comedy career?
Well, when I was 9 years old, I started doing magic. It's kind of if you don't have a famous fucking sibling, if you don't have a famous somebody that's in showbiz already, like, it's kind of like magic. I mean, I think Steve, God dang, Steve Martin talked about in his book Born Standing Up, was that if you could buy a magic trick and learn how to perform it, then you were basically essentially in show business. And so I started when I was 9. By the time I was 15, I was an accomplished professional magician. I probably did it for another 3 years before I decided I wanted to go do comedy. But I was really doing a bunch of shows, and it just kind of led me to the stand-up stage. It was more my personality anyway. And the only problem with being a magician is all your headshots look like this. So I went into stand-up. It fit my personality more, but I still love magic. But yeah, no, once you start doing stand-up comedy, I was off to the races. It's just it was so much fun.
And we have a cousin who's a professional magician. In your personal experience, do you think it's harder to become a successful magician or comedian?
That's a great question. Here's what a guy said to me when I was working at the when I was doing shows down at the Magic Club on Cherry Street in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
He said, "How many famous magicians do you know?" I went, "Huh." He goes, "How many famous comedians do you know?" And I could name a lot more comedians than I
Yeah.
could famous magicians. I mean, there's a handful. It's really, I mean, I operate in that world, and I know a lot more probably than more people can name, but certainly it's not a lot. I mean, there's guys out there to make their living doing it. That's kind of like stand-up. There's a lot of guys out there that are great stand-up comedians that make their living doing it, but nobody knows who the fuck they are. They've never done a Tonight Show. They've never done movies or television or anything, but they're great craftsmen and they're great stand-ups. Lots of times, and so I guess it's so I think magic is there's a more of a discipline to it. So you have to practice, you have to craft your own show, you have to put your show together, and you're constantly working on your show until you get like a 30-minute or 25-minute thing. Same with stand up, but I mean, it's boy, one thing goes wrong in your magic and you're fucked. You can riff on stage and get yourself out of a hole. So, I like them both equally, to tell you the truth. I love performing magic and I also love performing stand up, but I like to keep both skill sets sharp.
But and considering you were 9 years old when you began that, being on stage in front of people is just second nature at this point,
Well,
especially.
yeah, but for the most part, when I switched over to stand up, I really had a lot of performing chops. So I wasn't really, I had to wait for my writing ability to catch up to my performance chops. Let's put it that way. So I was playing a lot of catch up with the writing early on. I had to create the act and stuff. And so, yeah, but either way, I mean, I'm very blessed. The thing I was really blessed is that I was able to figure out what I wanted to do with my life at an early age. And
Mhm.
so when the opportunity presented itself, I just went for it. And I had nothing to lose. I was like an 18, 19-year-old kid. I was doing stand up in Philly. And then I went to Los Angeles, started working at the Comedy Store, toured with Sam Kinison for a number of years, traveled the country, came back to Florida, went back out, got movies, television and stuff. And so, LA is like one of those places I had to go back to 3 times before I was able to have a little bit of success out there. It kicks your ass. And it's not really, you know, 20 years ago it was really something special. Now it's a toilet. I mean, there's homeless people everywhere. They really just ruined it. They've ruined it. I mean, it's you go to San Francisco, you're eating out of a nice outdoor cafe, and some dude comes down, drops his pants, and just defecates right on the sidewalk while you're having your nice salad and enjoying your brunch. Because that's the way they like it out there. These
Yeah.
people out there, they're fucking insane. They're absolutely fucking insane. And yeah, California, I don't think is not going to recover. I don't think they will ever recover from this. I mean, they've chased all by the time they get done, all the businesses all left. I mean, it's impossible to make a living out there. It's just the rents are high, the gas prices are high, the people are fucking high. They're like, who wants to deal with it?
And Jimmy, let's talk about how you got into the movies and TV series. Was that something you had planned, or does that kind of just come out of thin air?
Yeah, no, I did have a plan. I was
Mhm.
studying acting classes early on. I went to a CAPA, Creative and Performing Arts High School in Philadelphia. When I was a sophomore, I transferred out, went down there, and so I had 3 acting classes a day. The goal was to do stand up, but all have a could be able to you have to have all the tools in the toolbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if an opportunity presents itself, you want to be ready for that. So I studied acting. I studied, and even when I got to LA, I was in many classes. I studied with a lot of teachers out there. I was doing scene work out there. I was working and perfecting craft. I was also doing stand up at night. But I wanted to, it's one of those things. You wanted to educate yourself and be ready. So when you got opportunities, you were ready to go and you weren't standing around like some jackass going, well, what do I do now? You had to prepare for it. I mean, it's a highly competitive field.
Mhm.
There's a role that you're probably right for, but there's 800 guys that are going up for that role. So I think if you can audition well, you can work in that industry, and you can figure out, once you get on set, and I learned more on acting on movie sets and TV sets than you ever did in acting class, for sure.
Mhm.
So once you get going and once you're off to the races and you start, me and my manager at the time, and the plan was to to get a little co-star parts, get little co-star parts, co-star parts, and once you had about 6 or 7 of those, then you started to get guest star parts and guest star parts and guest star. And so I was able to like start to build a resume and start to build a career. I mean, it's funny because you just go at it adamantly and diligently and put your nose to the grindstone. And there was about 10 years or 12 years where I was making my living as much acting as I was doing stand up. And so, I got a pension fund with the Screen Actors Guild, which is, an account. I didn't even think, but when I'm ready to retire, I have a pension fund because I've done so much stuff along the way that it just all adds up. And so.
And what did you enjoy doing the most? Any movie or TV show that stands out to you?
Oh yeah, I had a blast on the King of Queens because you were working with your friends. Also, yeah, we had a lot of fun. Gary Valentine played cousin Danny, and Kevin and Rock Rubin, who was one of the writers on the show. Those guys all came from stand up. And so Patton Oswalt was on the show, and so was Victor. So it was. Everybody was. It was a great, and of course. God, what's the fucking girl's name? God, what's that actress's name? Fucking played the wife on the King Queens. Leah Remini. Yes, Leah Remini is it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a brain fart. But yeah, Leah Remini was great. So yeah, that was fun to do. I did that for about 5 years. You're doing 2 or 3 episodes a year. I wound up doing like 15, I think, overall. Nice. But it was great. And then you're doing other stuff in between and doing movies. I did Go, Coyote Ugly, 1 hour photo. So you got, I was doing a lot of acting stuff, and I enjoyed it. Actually, I enjoyed it immensely. Doing both, it was a great way to be creative. So yeah, I like it all, to tell you the truth. I mean, to be able to make a living doing something you love to do, whether it's acting or stand up. It's funny. I used to go, what would you do if stand up doesn't work out? But stand up's what I fall back on now. Stand up's always been like, my bread and butter. And the acting stuff has been a great, it's residual streams of income. You get when they play your stuff on Sirius XM, you get paid. When they play your stuff on TV now, you get paid. And then you're out there working and creating. And now I'm at a point where I just want to go have fun. Like I'm going to Hong Kong in April. I want to go do some shows in Hong Kong. I want to travel the world. I want to see stuff. And so, yeah, man, I enjoy it immensely. I mean, you work at this thing so hard for like 30, 35 years, and you look up and go, wow, what a fucking great life I've had. I've been everywhere. I've been able to make my living doing something I love to do and continue to do it. I mean, last year I did 3 movies. One was called Don't Suck with Matt Rife. Russell Peters was in it. Jamie Kennedy was in it. Rick D'Elia wrote it, who was a stand-up. And the movie's done really well. People like it. It was a real kind of a kind of funny movie. It's a comedy, but they merged the horror of it because one of the guys is a vampire, but you don't realize that till about halfway through the movie. It's called Don't Suck, which is what they say to each other before they go, hey, don't suck, and turns out one of the guys is a vampire. So, but it's funny. It's a good movie. It's well made. And then there's another movie called Puppy Love with Hopper Penn, Sean Penn's son, Hopper Jack Penn. And then there's another film I did that Kevin McNamara wrote and directed called Hopper with Mark O'Brien, Amanda Clayton, and Eric Griffiths in it, as well as Brian Callen. And that's a really cool movie. That's a great movie. That was at the Newport Beach Film Festivals where I saw it my first time. I was really moved. Some powerful performances in it. It's kind of stand-up centric, but it's pretty heavy material. So it's just the comedy's kind of in the background. But yeah, that's a great movie too. I mean, I like all 3 of them. They're all these kind of independent films, which I like. I mean, I can't, I like the independent market,
Yeah. Yeah. Jimmy, when you look back on your career and when you first were coming up in stand up and comedy in general, and you look at these guys now that are coming up, you think it's more difficult to come up now or the time period when you came up?
Well, there's definitely more people doing it now. The competition is fierce. That's I wouldn't say it's more or less difficult. it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You still have to put the work in. I think a lot of people are putting the social media cart before the horse. You have to kind of find this nice little balance. You still have to write and perform jokes. You still have to put together the craft, the material, and the act. You got to find your voice first, and then you got to craft the material that's authentic to that voice. And that takes a while. There's just no shortcuts to do that. I mean, that's doing stand-up comedy every night till you're like a stripper, where you're not undressing physically, but you're undressing mentally, or you have allowed yourself to be an authentic version of yourself, the most authentic version of yourself, and then you're writing acts to suit that voice. So I don't think you still got to do the work, and anybody like that's in this industry knows how tough it is.
Yeah.
So I root for all my friends. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not bitter. I'm not jealous. I think there's enough for everybody. If you put the work in, God bless you. I root for all my friends to win. So it's just because it's anybody who knows it's just a really incredibly tough business.
Totally.
And some get luckier than others, and other people don't get lucky at all. And you need a little bit of both. You need a little bit of talent, a little bit of luck. You got to be able to work your ass off and put some time in, and work on your bits and figure it out, and get booked. And you're booking your travel arrangements, you're booking your hotels, you're doing corporate events, you're doing casinos, you're doing theaters, you're doing comedy clubs, you're acting and auditioning. I'm still acting and auditioning right here. So it's a lot. I mean, I don't think there's any. It's like doing a podcast. I just don't have the bandwidth to do a podcast, nor do I want to. I mean, I don't mind being a guest on a podcast. But my life, like at this point in my life, I just want to enjoy my life a little bit. You know what I mean? I want to be able to go out and play 5 days of golf with my brothers when I come to town. I want to be able to travel to Hong Kong and do some stuff. And it's like at some point you get to a point where it's just like, you got to figure out, is the juice worth the squeeze on a lot of this stuff? I mean, the podcast market is so fucking flooded now. I mean, if you're not, the top 10, 15 guys, I mean, everything else, everybody's fighting for 194th place on the iTunes charts.
Yeah. And who are some of these, comics or even podcast hosts that you keep up with and follow their stuff?
Definitely Joe Rogan. I like Joe. Bill Burr. I listen to when I can. It's a lot of different kinds of podcasts. I listen to some nutritional podcasts, some fasting podcasts, just just for my own personal reasons. But I think now, like if you're walking around dumb now, and I know the Kardashians make it look easy, but you really got to want to be dumb today, because there's so much information out there, so much good information out there, really. If you find the right people to follow that know what they're talking about. I mean, it's like an education unto itself. I mean, especially if you're on a plane for 4 hours, you just listen to some great information. Plus I'm reading. I got like 4 books going. I listen to books on tape in the morning. I listen to 2 chapters when I'm in the shower of different stuff. Yeah, I try to. I don't watch TV hardly at all. Maybe I'll watch some sporting stuff, but I don't really watch television. I mute the commercials. I just like to. I like information. I like documentaries, or I like history channel stuff, like about World War II. Have to be buff about that. Just yeah. That's what. That's right.
I got you. And I know you don't watch much TV, but did you happen to see Shane Gillis Saturday night on SNL? And if so, what do you think?
No, I don't watch Saturday Night Live anymore. I mean, I know he's going. I knew he did do a great job. I knew Shane would do a great job. Well, what a great fucking victory for him. He was supposed to be on the show. You fucking fired him for some fucking bullshit because you fucking these woke motherfuckers. Did you see that thing in Portland? They just fired that 4 comedians. I got their shows canceled because the woke Aryans had them and they were just talking about the vaccine, and I guess it's they didn't think it would be good for the community. I mean, this is like fucking Nazi Germany. It's like Nazi fucking Germany, 1934 Berlin, when they start to censor information, and the further a society drifts from the truth, the more they hate those who speak it. Like if I wanted to laugh now, I would watch the news. And if I
Yeah.
want to know what was going on, I'd go see a comedian. That's how fucking crazy it's flipped.
You
Like
know
I
what I,
laugh at the news because I think it's all propaganda. I laugh at the sheer audacity of these fucking people to just repeat lies and repeat lies and repeat lies. Like that they're like I think it's fucking hilarious that they think. I mean, don't get me. There's a faction of the population that is conditioned enough to believe it. I mean, why do you think they call it fucking programming on your TV? It's programming. You sit there and it makes your fucking brain soft, and you fucking regress into a little fucking and you know it calcifies your pineal gland, and you're fucking stupid. Could you imagine? Could you imagine not liking somebody because the news told you not to like them? Listen, you shouldn't like this person because we're telling you not to like them. And they're a horrible person. We honestly tell you they're horrible. So you shouldn't like them. I know you've never met them. You never even had a conversation with them, but you shouldn't like them. I mean, it's like, and people actually walk around, yeah, because, you know, like really? Like, are you that fucking, I mean, even if you have a little sliver of gray matter between your fucking ears, you can tell that this is fucking stupidity on fucking parade. I mean, you know, it's all propaganda. It's all propaganda.
hey,
Every
Jimmy,
fucking commercial's for a fucking drug. Big Pharma has its tentacles into fucking everything. You know, Big Pharma, they're fucking poisoning you with the food. Our food is banned in 30 countries. How about that? How about our food is banned in 30 countries because other governments find our food to be fucking not safe. But here, oh, it's completely fucking legal. You know, I mean, they're selling margarine. Margarine's fucking poison. I'm sorry, but it's fucking poison. As a butter substitute, all of it. They've convinced, you know, they're just, we're just living, you know. I was reading a thing recently that said, like, during the Nuremberg trials, when they put all those war criminals also on trial, and they also put the media of Germany on trial too and put them to death for lying to the German public. I mean, if anybody's getting your information from the Newsday, I'm believing it. I feel fucking sorry for you. It's absolute fucking poison. You know, your diet isn't just what you eat, it's what you consume through your eye hole, it's what you consume through your ear hole, it's what you consume in your fucking in your mouth. It's the air that you breathe. Your diet's fucking everything, you know? And if one of these, if your mental acumen's off, if your spiritual acumen's off, if your physical acumen's off, then you're in trouble. You know, you're in trouble in this world. It's you really gotta look out for yourself and guard your mental health with a ferocity today, because it's just it's all mental health, physical health, and you got to take care of all of it.
Jimmy, you know what I saw yesterday at the Whole Foods on Linton, actually? They have a sensor now. Instead of, like, you tab your phone, like Apple Pay, you
Yeah.
put your palm over the sensor and it knows your palm and you're able to pay that way.
Well, you know people think that's incredibly convenient, but it's also a way to track you. People, you know, the it's just like Facebook and Instagram. They're all just data mining operations. They're all just gathering data on everybody. And you know, I mean, we've given up all our privacy. We've been complacent in all of it. We've given up and rushed to give away our privacy. Remember when people used to have diaries and they would get pissed off if you read their diary?
Yep.
Now they get mad if you don't fucking like it and share it, you know, like with Facebook and it's like, and I mean, I'm telling you, we're living in a mentally ill society. The whole society is mentally ill. I mean, you imagine, I just read that 25% of women are walking around on antidepressants. The other 75 are walking around undiagnosed. It was a joke. It was a stupid joke. I'll get canceled for it later. But no, it's just I mean, seriously, I'm just I'm unplugging from all of it. I vote with my wallet. I vote with my feet. I'm just not. I'm not participating in your fucking stupid little games. I don't get angry anymore. I don't watch politics. I don't care. It's just one giant big fucking con game. You know, the two sides to the middle, when they're both as equally as corrupt and scummy as the other side. They like to fucking play two sides to the middle. That's how they keep everybody divided. God forbid the people in this country all stood together on on one thing and just said, fuck you, we're not taking it anymore. Fuck you, and fuck you, and fuck you. We ain't doing it anymore. You would see, I mean, they would shit themselves. A lot of these fucking elites and shit a penis.
And Jimmy, you do yoga. How has this impacted your mental health and made you
You can see it's affected me. I'm much calmer now.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed. I enjoyed the meditation. I just, I mean, that was part of the thing. You know, I wanted to, you know, the meditation helps out. I'm just like a high strung guy. I can't help it. I'm just, you know, people think I'm angry. I'm not really angry. I'm just passionate
Yeah.
about the things I'm talking about. I'm passionate about, you know, once you go down the wormhole and these rabbit holes, and you start to find out all this information, and these rabbit holes lead to rabbi holes, and there's like, you know, and you're doing all this. You just realize that this. I mean, imagine waking up like at an age and just going, holy shit, everything is a fucking lie, all of it. Every little bit of it. It's all a lie. Every fucking bit. They've fucking all of it. They don't give a fuck about you people. They haven't given a fuck about people in a long fucking time. They don't care. They've done experiments on groups of people. They've done like in St. Louis and the Tuskegee experiment. They've
Yeah.
you know, murdered American Indians. They wiped out an entire race of people. I mean, it's all collateral damage to them. I mean, how much money do you fucking need? I don't know what it is about these guys like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and Rockefeller. These guys make so much money, they turn into like these James Bond like villains. Like, you know, Rockefeller decided that they could make petroleum based medicines and took some of his fortune and invested it back into medical colleges for them to teach medicine differently. And it went, and that's when they flipped the food pyramid, and they decided that, you know, even the education system was invented in Germany. It wasn't to create, you know, critical thinkers. It was to create people who just were good at taking tests, and they would be developing a good class of worker. I mean, all of it, every single bit of the fluoride in your toothpaste, the fucking aluminum in your deodorant. I mean, let's go down the list. The fact that they faked the fucking moon landing. I mean, all of it. Once you start going, you go, it's insane. I mean, really. And it's the evidence is fucking out there. I mean, I'm not even that, I wouldn't classify myself as being extremely intelligent, but I've seen enough data. I go, yeah, that makes a lot of fucking sense. You look at the spacecraft that landed on the moon. It looked like it was wrapped with fucking tinfoil. I mean, it's fucking stupid. And you look at it, there's no shadow. I mean, the shadows, it really is, when you go look at the evidence, 9/11, you know, bringing down, you know, building 11. I mean, like the different things, like you start to piece it together. You go, there's some.
Wait, Jim, you said you went like you know, I don't want to say majority, but a long period of your life, like just going like nonchalantly about your life, not realizing any of this or what you know now. When did you have this epiphany? Because obviously living in Los Angeles, everyone's in La La Land.
Yeah, no, about 5 years ago. I mean, it was just, you know, it started with you know, it started with this whole thing. I knew exactly what the fuck it was when it started. I said, this is what they're going to use to control people. I mean, you know, the fact that people are dying, uh, you know, the amount of deaths for people under 40 is up like 70% in New York City. And that's not a statistic that you'd find. That's a statistic from life insurance company because they have to pay out on all those policies. So you know the number's real, the number's accurate, and that's a little crazy. You know, that's one of the rules of the Died Suddenly Club. You can't talk about the Died Suddenly Club, which there's a lot of people around the world who took this, and they don't even know. I mean, dude, you see them pulling these blood clots. The guys doing autopsies, pulling these giant squid-like blood clots out of fucking people's neck. I mean, you know, all of it. I mean, how much money do you fucking need? These people straight up murdered people. They murdered people because they knew the fucking thing was faulty. They knew it. I mean, if they didn't get, you took a part of the generation, which were people's grandparents, and they put them with COVID people, and they got fucking sick and died. And some of the most vulnerable people in our society were exposed to this and fucking died, and they didn't give a fuck. And they came up with this vaccine. Hey, if you get some French fries, which are delicious, and you get a vaccine, which will fucking sterilize your fucking daughters so they can't have children, and you'll get blood count for free fucking French fries. That fucking, every time I say, I want to take a fucking sledgehammer, and which is why he's sitting there talking, just smash his fucking head with a fucking sledgehammer and rupture his skull like the watermelon at a Gallagher concert. Like for me, that would be like there's fucking De Blasio talking while eating French fries, and the whole front row of reporters are just holding up plastic like they're at a Gallagher concert, not to get watermelon on them. Sorry, that's the secret fantasy I had that plays out. Sorry.
Dude, Jimmy, you're fucking hysterical, dude. Your energy is absolutely unmatched. I'm definitely going to be at your show next week, and
Yeah. 8th and 9th, we'll be at the Boca Black Box. I got some other stuff coming up too. I'm doing a fundraiser in Palm Beach on the 2nd for some other stuff. So but yeah, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, I go off on these tangents. I was like, I have a coffee, I mean, I go off on these tangents. But yeah, I mean, you guys know, you live in Florida. We're lucky down here that we have a guy who's Ron DeSantis is on point. I mean, the difference between California and Florida, I mean, it is fucking eons apart,
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jimmy, what's at this point in your life? What's next for you? Obviously, Hong Kong coming up. What else you got?
Different stuff. I got some tour dates. I'm gonna start to I'm gonna get back like after I just had such a crazy year leading right up into January. I went on vacation, and I'm just trying to just reorganizing for some stuff. But hopefully there'll be more auditions and more movies and some TV shows. I just taped a thing for Russell Peters, who's starting his own streaming service. I taped a half-hour special up in Canada for that. I have my own special coming out called Clown Shoes, which I'll probably release on YouTube. It'll be free. I also have another album coming out this year as well. So I got 2 movies that are coming out. I got a special. I got a new album, and also a 30-minute streaming thing on Russell Peters is starting his own streaming service. So called Laugh Out Loud. So I just taped that in January 5th, which was great. And so we'll see. I mean, all good things. I'm staying positive about, my opportunities. It's funny because last year I had an amazing year. I moved from California to Florida, and I've never been busier. So and hopefully it'll continue to be so. And I look forward to it. But thanks for having me on, guys. And we'll see you on the 8th and 9th down there with the Sad Man's Comedy Club.
And Jimmy, is that music you do, or is it a comedy album?
No, it's a comedy album. I'm an old guy. I could still call them albums. Okay. I don't really call them CDs, a comedy CD. But it's like, I look at it like when I was little, I used to get the Carlin albums.
Yeah.
I got like 5 Carlin albums. You used to listen to the albums. It's like, you kind of theme the material. When you think as a performer, you're theming out the material of your album. It's all going to kind of match up, the new material and stuff like that. And so I still consider it an album because it's like when you listen to a good album, like a good music album, you can every song on the album is fucking great. You know what I mean? And so that's in my head, which is why I try to create as an album with a nice theme to it. That'll be my 6th album. If people want to, I got Animal Instincts, Zero Tolerance. There's a bunch of them on iTunes. People can download and check them out. But yeah, I just like, the crazier things get, the easier my job becomes. It makes, I gotta make fun of pop culture. It's pretty easy at this fucking point. I love, do you see the narrative? Like the media is saying Donald Trump's losing it. He mispronounced Melania's name. I mean, yeah, I don't know. And Biden, boy, he's the picture of mental health. That's why you always see the guy fucking eating ice cream. That's why you always see eating ice cream. It's like a thing they do for Alzheimer's patients. The ice cream's like comfort food. It fucking chills them out from and they can act normal for a few fucking minutes. That's why he's always eating ice cream. This fucking stupid prick. Yeah, there's nothing to see here with the Hunter Biden. Like that his laptop. You think he was reckless with his laptop in this country? You should see what the Chinese have on Hunter Biden. Snorting cocaine off of fucking 12-year-olds girls' asses. That's all. That's what they got. You don't want us to release this to the public, do you? He's China's puppet. I call him China Joe. Chinese, the CCP Joe. They're all just fucking. Well, I don't know. I'm surprised there's enough room up his ass. Obama's hand's already up his ass working him. Like these people think like we don't know. Like really, like, you think Joe Biden's making any fucking decisions besides he just shit himself? He just shit himself. Get suit number 2 out. I got to travel with 3 of the exact same suits because the guy's fucking shitting himself like a fucking yogurt machine. Just fucking just shit him. They got to clean him up. They got to hose him down. Yeah, that's what But we're not. Kamala Harris just sits in her office all day playing video poker like a fucking jackass. I mean, it doesn't do anything for fucking. I mean, this is where we're at now. Sorry.
Anyway, appreciate you, and I will see you next weekend.
I love fucking getting people riled up. Sorry, I'm such a rabble rouser. Listen, guys, thanks for having me on. You guys have a fucking Evan and Merrick. You guys have a great afternoon, and we'll catch up soon. Right? I'll see you next weekend.
See you next weekend, Jimmy. Thank you.